Hello everyone, I'm Narmada Ravali. This is SCR 502 course project. We are team 15. My teammates are Somesh, Ravikant and Siyog. We are here to discuss our language named PyPro. Let's go to language design. Our program contains commands. Those commands can be a single command or a group of commands. Each command can be an operation followed by a semicolon. That operation can be assignment operations or increment operations, multiplications, divisions, and group of expressions and their operations on those. And a command can be a while loop. A command can be a ternary operator. The ternary operator can only contain expressions in their body. A while loop has conditional statement and a group of commands. If else statement and if else nested statements and the body of if else contains commands. And a command can contain two for loops. One is traditional for loop and one is with range. The body of two types of for loop contains commands, and the conditional statements of for loops, while loops, if else, nested if else will contain a boolean. And a command can also be a print statement followed by a semicolon. The print statement can display combination of numbers, strings, booleans, and variables. A command can be a function declaration. Function declaration contains function name, function keyword, and parameters, and body of the function contains group of commands. A command can also be a function declaration with a return type. And if a command can also be a function declaration with a return type but no body. That means comments are not allowed. The parameter list of the function declarations can be a parameter or a group of parameters. That parameter should be an identifier. A command can be a function call followed by a semicolon. So there are some restrictions on our language design. Loops and conditional statements cannot have return statement inside function. Return statement can only be at end of the function. Strings can't have double quotes inside a single quote string. Ternary operator must be used in an assignment statement. If, then, else, for loops should contain at least one command. Now the grammar. The program can have commands and the commands can have an assignment operations and while loop, if else statements, for loops, function calls, function declarations, print statements, and booleans, and group of expressions and everything. So Ravikant will explain the lecture phase of the language design.
Hello everyone, I'm Ravikant and I will be discussing lexical analysis part. Okay, we are using Python for lexical analysis. Specifically, we are using our library called Sly, which is useful for doing lexical analysis. So as you can see here, we have to extend the default class which is provided from Sly into a class in where we have to define all the tokens and literals. So you have to first name the tokens in the curly braces as shown here. You also have to name any literals you have. After that, you can use this ignore command, ignore assignments to ignore any tokens that you might not need for passing phase. After you name the tokens above, you have to define the tokens using regular expressions. One rule you have to follow is you have to place the longest regular expression first, and then the short one should follow. So the advantage of using names for these tokens is you can do some additional operations as shown here on the generated tokens. So for example, if you take brace, in the token list, we need a code, single code surrounding this brace. So, but the lexical analyzer only generates the brace as a single token. So if we define a function like this, then we can take the token and find and change its value to include those codes. And if the lexical analyzer encounters any token that is not defined in the language, this error method will be called. And once it's called, we are using the line number to print the where the error is happening.
I'll be explaining the parsing side of our language. So yeah, so here it how it goes. So we have different parse tree nodes for each and every commands in our language, so that it can be identified uniquely. So for commands, our parse tree node starts like t_ command, and for each and every command, then it has a underscore while and different names depending on the type of the command. So so for if else conditions or for loops, while loops, we have unique parse tree nodes to identify them in our language. Similar to that, for print statements also, we have parse tree nodes. So print statements can be combination of expression strings. So according to that, we have that accommodated in our parse trees. So also functions have a particular structure to pass parameters inside it. So to follow that, we have particularly built this parse tree node. Also, similar to that, while calling functions, we need to pass the parameters in a certain manner. So to identify that, we have a t_parameter_call, this parse tree node. Similar to that, for Boolean conditions, to identify each and every Boolean condition, we have different parse tree node here. So it can be combination of expression or Boolean types like true, false, or it also has and or statements included. I mean, and or commands and or keywords are used in the Boolean conditions. Also, for assignment, for each and every assignment, there is a parse tree node. So so in assignment, we can assign any Boolean value to the variable. So for that, this is the parse tree node that we have here. Also, these are here we have incorporated the precedence. So as we go down, the precedence increases, the priority increases, so that statement will be executed first. So so we have here addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, also power. Also we are handling unary minus. Also expressions inside parentheses also handled here. And also as we are handling the function call in expression only, because it will return expression like number or string, any value. Numbers to identify words. Words are like variable names that we can have, and we are putting keywords here. So keywords means we can't have a variable name which is there in this list. So because these are the words that are already used to build our language, so we can't use them in our declaration or yeah. So so this parse tree is generated using the tokens that Ravi just told us how. So for the evaluation part, Somesh will continue. So over to Somesh.
Hi everyone, I'm Somesh. I'll be explaining the runtime part of the PyPro programming language. So as you can see, we'll be using the Prolog language to do the evaluation of the PyPro programming language. So the eval program predicate gets the input as a pass tree, which was generated by the parser, which Suyog just explained. So the eval predicate will call the eval command by generating an empty environment, as you can see here, and it will pass that empty environment to the command. And the command will identify each pass tree using the tree structure, as you can see here, t underscore command underscore assign, and does the particular operation. For this example, it does the evaluation of the expression and assigns and just returns a new value. This is again passed on to the next commands, and new commands will be executed. This is the evaluation of if command, where it will first evaluate the Boolean expression, and if it is true, then only it goes to the next command. If it is false, it will just skip this part and go to the next command. This is the handling of the if else part, where it will evaluate the Boolean. If true, it will go to the then part, or else it will go here. It is evaluating to false. If it is false, then it will go to the else part. There's similar kind of things are done here to handle different kinds of if else and if else nested if else commands. This is the while loop. As you can see, it will just evaluate the Boolean expression first. If it is true, then it is going to evaluate the body part of the while loop, which is just a sequence of commands. Once it does the evaluation of the command, it again calls the eval command with the whole while predicate, passing the while predicate, which repeats this operation. As you can see here, it will when the Boolean expression is false, it will stop that looping execution, and it will come out of the loop. Here I'll be explaining the evaluation of the method declaration. So what it does is basically it will look up whether the function name is already declared. If so, it will just write a error saying that function name is already declared, or else it will update the whole predicate into the global scope, where it can be used later when the function is called. So here I'll be explaining the function call operation. So what it does is basically it will look up the function call method, and it will take the whole pass tree which was saved earlier during function declaration, and it will pass it to the eval method predicate. So in the eval method predicate, what it does is basically it will evaluate the parameter of the declared function and the called function. So once it evaluates both the things, it gets the list of both the variables and the values, and it will check whether both the lengths are true. If it is true, then it will assign those particular values respectively, and execute the command of the whole function body. If it is false, it is just going to write parameters does not match for the function call, and it will just fail the whole program. And next we move on to the evaluation of Boolean expression, where it takes the pass tree as the input, and the environment also as an input, and generates a new environment and returns the value condition, which will say it was true or false. And these Boolean expressions are used in the if loop to decide whether to go to like execute the then or else loop, and the same goes for while and for. So these are all the sub predicates used to check not condition, equal to, and condition, or condition, lesser than, greater than, and so on. So here since we are not doing the variable declaration in the types in the semantics part. So what it does is basically first it will evaluate both the expressions, check whether if it is a string or not a string, and based on that it will does the operation. As you can see over here, if it is a string and if it is a number, it will does a string concat of both the values. And similarly here, if it is reversed, and here if it is both are not a string, that means it is a number, it will evaluate it will add the both the values and return that value. And here we will be if it is with both a string, again we will be concatenating both things. This things the same goes for multiplication, where we will be multiplying a given number to, with an integer, and it will concatenate with it with that many number of times. But the string operations are only supported for addition and multiplication, and rest just goes for division. For numbers. Now Ravikant will be taking over the execution part.
Hello, Ravikant again. We will now see the installation process of PyPro. Right now, you can only install in Linux-based operating systems, but you can run without installing in other operating systems. First, we will look at the installation process. After downloading the project, go to the project root folder. Then go to the installer folder located in source folder. After you are in the installer folder, you can see two scripts, install and uninstall. Now run sudo /install .sh to install the PyPro. Now PyPro has been installed. We have some sample files and we can execute them and see how it works. So as you can see, the program has been executed by PyPro, and you can also uninstall PyPro using the uninstall command found in installer directory. Now PyPro has been uninstalled. You can't run it. So we will now look at how you can run it without installing PyPro. Within the source folder, you will find a pypro.python file. So run python3 pypro.py and use your sample data file. So like this, you can run it without install. We'll now see the demonstration part. We have some sample files in the project folder, data folder. These are the files. Let's see the first file, add. So here we have multiple addition operations and string assignments, Boolean assignments, and we are printing all those values. So let's run it. As you can see, it has been executed. Let's see another file. This one demonstrates the multiplication. Let's run this file. As you can see, this also has been executed. Let's see a bigger file. This file demonstrates all the nested whiles, nested fors, and nested ifs. Let's run this. As you can see, all the nested statements also have been running successfully. Let's see one more file. This file shows ternary operation, assignments, and if-else parts, and also methods and functions. So we'll run this. You can see this also is running. Let's see one more file. Let's run this. Yes, as you can see, the sample files are running. You can also execute them from the data folder.